first, Michael, we only had the week off, but you guys never treat it as a week off. How's everyone pulled up? Everyone fit and ready to go for tomorrow?
Yeah, it's been a great week. We played a game against our under 15 boys, which was an excellent hit out. So we got minutes into the players that needed to, and we made sure that we kept working on a couple of little things. But all in all, the mood's very good. Everyone's fit and ready to go. We haven't quite pushed Specky. She was looking likely to be ready for this week, but we decided to probably just give her a few more days. So she'll be back for next week.
Just the Mariners, what do you make of them? They were pretty gutsy the other night. I think they got pretty worn down in the conditions and against Canberra as well. What do you have to get right? Because they've been a bit of a thorn in your side this season.
Look, they're a great side. We drew both encounters with them. I think the first one was a very, very even match. Could have gone either way when we drew 2-2 at home. New Year's Eve, I think that was we dominated that match and probably should have won that game quite comfortably. But they're a tough side. They're well organised. I think they're very well coached. I think they play a couple of different formations. And then against Canberra for the first time, they played with a back three and changed it up again. So I think they're tactically, let's see what they throw at us. We're ready for both ways. And I think it's going to be a good tie.
Michael, how much of I guess, a tactical battle you're anticipating this weekend? Because given that it is a two-legged affair, it can't necessarily be won in the first leg, but it can be lost. So how much does that play into your mind, especially being away from home in terms of the way you're going to set up?
For us, it doesn't really change. I think I'm more intrigued for what they're going to do. I think, like I mentioned before, both games that we played, we drew. The first game, they came at us, high-pressed us, quite aggressive. But then the second match, they just sat off and stayed in a deep block and tried to counter on us. So I thought last weekend's game, when they played a back three, they threw numbers forward. They were very courageous. So yeah, I'm more intrigued what they're going to do. I think what we do, it doesn't really change from week to week, whether we're home or away. We have a certain style that we want to dictate and implement, which I think we've been doing quite well. But we always need to be aware of what the opposition do, because if they play a back three to a back four, we attack that differently and we press that differently. So, I'm more intrigued what they're going to do, but we've worked on both ways. And hopefully from the lineup or what we see in the first few minutes of the game, we're able to adjust and adapt quite quickly to sort of impose ourselves on the way that we want to do things.
So obviously, you've been in a position where you've been sort of the hunted, for the whole season. How, as an opposition coach going into this game, Michael, how much do you kind of put a price on momentum and teams that have that momentum that have, maybe been battling to secure a home elimination final like the Mariners did, and then they're coming into this looking to try and take down the top dog in Melbourne City? How much kind of do you think momentum plays a part in finals at this time of year?
It's a good question. I have this debate with a lot of coaches. In my personal opinion, I think it's two totally different competitions. So it doesn't matter if you just scraped into the finals, if you, like us, went undefeated and top of the table. It's now, for me, a totally different competition. So it's irrelevant now. I think whatever's done is done. However you got there, you got there. And now both teams are going to do the best they can to try and win this tie to get into the final. So I think over the 23 rounds, obviously we were top and won the premiership. And now it's a semi-final. So I think they're a good side. Like I mentioned before, we're a good side. And I think it's going to be a great battle, and hopefully we get the upper hand.
Do you feel like there's an extra bit of wanting to prove, a point to prove, and maybe make some I know you weren't there last year, Michael, but a lot of this team is the same. They look fantastic, won the premiership. They maybe weren't as dominant as this year, but it all came crashing down in the grand final. Is there that extra bit of, not motivation, but desire to show what they can do come finals?
Look, I think from day one, I've said it a number of times, the mentality of this group, and especially the leaders in this group, is top. So, do they want revenge? I'm not sure. We don't speak about that. I haven't heard that in and amongst the group. But watching the game last year, they played extremely well and dominated the match, and obviously got done by a counter attack moment. But really, on the basis of of football quality, they were the better side on the day. But what we love about this game is it can go either way, and you can have 20 shots to one and still lose 1-0. So that's what we love about this match and this game. And I think definitely the players would want to lift this trophy. Not necessarily for what happened last season, but for the way we've controlled this season, and obviously we have our targets and our goals that we want to lift as many trophies as possible. So this is just the next one coming up.
It seems pretty remarkable when you know how good of a player she is, but just because of the timing of her injuries, I think this is Holly's first A-League Women finals. I'm sure you don't have any concerns about her ability to step up on the big stage. Obviously won the Golden Boot as well. How exciting is it to see a player like that unleashed on this stage?
Yeah, I didn't know that stat. That she hasn't played a finals campaign yet. Look, she's a player with a lot of quality, and we all forget that how little amount of games she's actually played. So this has been a great run for her, but for a player of her quality at such a young age. To have the injuries that she's had. For me, the mentality that she's had to go through is going to make her even stronger in the future. So I think she's got a lot of levels to keep improving on. She knows that as well. But yeah, we look forward to her doing well in this finals campaign.
Just one of the Mariners players quickly, sorry, Dolly, and then I'm pretty much done. Isabel Gomez, probably the most unpredictable midfielder and one of the best, maybe apart from the three you guys have got. How do you contain someone like that who can pull something very different out of the bag? Obviously, he's physical, has the tricks, he's getting more forward now as well.
Yeah, I really like her as a player. I think she's, especially the second half of the year, I think she started to make more attacking runs, and I think they've released her a little bit more out of the 6th position, more as an 8 and getting forward, and she's showing those qualities of breaking lines and getting into good goal scoring opportunities, and scored a couple of goals as well herself. So she's definitely a dangerous player, along with 3 or 4 other attackers that they have. So we've sort of done a lot of research and film on their strengths and how we need to nullify that and track those runners and get early contact. But they like to be physical as well, so I think it's going to be a good battle.
Just the last one for me, Michael. In terms of, you mentioned before about having the practice game in that week off to keep players ticking over. How much have you had to kind of hold players back a little bit in terms of not wanting to do too much in that week off? Because I dare say there would have been a few players that would have enjoyed the week. Somebody probably wouldn't have liked having the break in a normal football schedule of having a game each week and so on. So how much have you had to try and temper their excitement and make sure that they don't do too much in that break, knowing that they'd had that time off?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think there's always a balance. So there was a couple of players that we did some half loads in that game, but otherwise the idea was that everyone played. So we had about 13, 14 players. A few of our players played with the boys, and then we chopped and changed a little bit. But all in all, we played a 60-minute game. And normally when we play against our boys' teams, that normally in output and data is normally around an 80, 90-minute game in a normal A-League W for us. So the intensity is a lot higher. The speed of thought is a lot higher. So the sharpness is above and beyond what we normally come up against. So that's why whenever we get an opportunity, we like playing against the boys, because that gives us a different intensity that we normally get. And, a big credit to the club and obviously the coach of the under-15s, because they did a couple of tactics against us that we wanted to work on. So the 2 different halves that we played, we got to get against 2 different formations that we were sort of expecting might come, what we might come up against come this weekend. So I think we're going to be more prepared for it.